What's going on, YouTube? Claykeysalt back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius video, and today we're going to be finally going over Espers, how I built my Espers, why I made my choices to help you guys if you need to reset or you've made a mistake. I know this video is kind of late, but my life has been crazy since the global release in E3, but at least it's going to be here to help you now or future players coming out. So the first one we're going to be going over is Siren. So Siren, in my opinion, isn't the greatest of Espers currently. I know in JP that Siren, I think, and Ifrit got their 3 stars, I do believe. Again, I just currently do not think there's a lot of uses for Siren, but I will show how I built Siren at 2-star and how, why I did what I did. So you can see here that when you are building an Esper, you should always go for abilities you think will be useful in battle. And as we've gone through trials and we've learned certain things, I've picked up on certain things I'd like to use. So we went down and got Cure just in case somebody needs to be a backup healer. We have Cleanse, Bar Water, it's not Bar Water or Bar Water Ga, but, in the case we may need to put up our Water Resist, Siren will have that. Dispel is very, very important. Silence can be important, in which case some trials may require that. Same with Blind, Water, just in case you want to cast Water. If a mission would require you to cast Water, then, if you throw Siren on one of your units, you're going to be able to do that. We have Attack Song, which is going to buff up our attack. We went over and got Lullaby and Defense Song to buff up our defense also. But overall, like I said, I think Siren is a supportish, obviously, Esper, but not one of the best ones when it comes to stats or overall abilities. I'm not sure how that changes at 3-star or anything like that, but this is my global build over right now, guys. So if you guys end up using Siren, if you're early on in the game and this is what you guys want to do, then there you go. Here's the build. Next up on the list is Ifrit, and I still believe this is one of the best Espers for physical damage dealers in the game. That's who you really want to put it on, and I'll tell you why. We'll go ahead and go to the Esper grid here, and you can see that he has Beast Killer and Plant Killer. And guys, it is one of the most important things in this game are the killer abilities. What they do, again, if you didn't know, is they put up your your physical damage against that certain type of enemy by 50%, and that is amazing when you can stack it with a materia slot or a weapon slot. You guys can be doing mad damage to beasts or plants when it comes to Ifrit. Now, of course, I'm taking Fire, Bar Fire. Again, these are abilities you may find useful and may need to use in tight situations if you need to be, dealing fire damage to an enemy, and in which case that would be good to have. But overall, here's Ifrit. He's kind of straightforward. He has a lot of attack and defense on him. Great for a physical damage dealer to use those killer abilities. Next up is Shiva, and when she first came out, she was your go-to mage Esper, and she could still help you with mage, but as a good friend of mine, Tech Maki, and I have discussed, and he has caught me over to his side of the thing, Shiva is actually more of a support unit. The amount of spirit that she can give to you is really great. She has defensive stats too. Let's go ahead and look into her kit and see what we can get. So you can see we can get Bar Blizzard, which is good, Blizzara, Magic Break, and I know these breaks aren't the best. You saw Power Break before. They're not the strongest, but there have become times when I've been in clutch situations where I need to break somebody's attack or magic, at least, or defense or spirit, at least a little bit, and it's come in handy, okay? So that's why we pick up Deshell, Blizzard. Libra is an ability that I have found I want on every one of my Espers and every one of my characters. I want to do some research. I want to go in. I want to make sure that everybody has it. We have Imperil here and a bunch of defense, guys. So Shiva's a very defensive MP, giving you a lot of spirit. As you can see, a lot of spirit. Not that much magic, actually, which is kind of misleading. You would think that Shiva, in my opinion, would be a mage type a character, but in the end, I think best on a support unit. But we end up having better Espers down the road, and Shiva kind of just doesn't do much for us, but you will be able to help out if you do build a mage team or something like that. So here's my build. And next up is Golem, and this is going to be a highly debated one, and I'll tell you why. You guys can remember in the Titan trial how we had Golem and they had cover on there. He has Stone Killer. We'll go ahead and go look at his map. He has Stone Killer right down here and Bug Killer, and these are two, again, physical damage dealing amplification against those enemies. And so we also have cover up here, as you can see, and what cover does, it gives you a % chance to jump in front of an ally and then take damage for them and protect them. And the problem is, if you throw that on a physical damage dealer and they decide to jump in front of someone taking damage, they're probably going to end up dying. They're going to end up taking too much damage to live. So you can see here that I do have cover on my Golem, and that is because I am going to be using Wilhelm as my main tank, and he does not have any cover abilities, although this cover is a small chance to jump in front of my allies. I do believe I want that on my kit. Now, if there came a time when there was a trial or a, you know, just an event going on where I really needed that stone killer on my leader or on my damage dealer or bug killer, what I would do is I would just redo this, get rid of cover, and throw it somewhere else. Another good point you guys want to make sure you guys are getting as the provoke here in the top left. Now, a lot of our 6-star units, our tanks, do have provoke automatically in their kit nowadays. They didn't in the past, but it's just something to be aware of. As you're progressing through the game, you'll need that. We have Barstone up here to put up our resist to stone damage, etc., etc. So here's my build. Again, this is a lot of attack and defense and HP. So Golem goes on a tanky, you know, a tanky unit, or you can also go onto an attacking unit when you don't really need his provoke because of the stone killer and the bug killer passives. And again, cover does not, you want to take cover off if your tank already has cover abilities, because it should not stack from my understanding. And again, it's a small chance. Or if you're putting it on a physical damage dealer, you do not want your physical damage dealer jumping in front of anything. So that is Golem. And again, guys, we'll talk about Golem real quick too. He does have a very, very good evocation ability called Earthen Wall. Decreased physical damage taken for all allies. It's a great damage mitigation ability. It's used very, very often in trials to help you survive. So this is the first time I'm bringing this up because he's the first one I actually feel like we'll be using a lot in battle. So be aware that Golem is one of the ones you do want to invoke. Next up is Ramuh. And guys, Ramuh is your mage go-to, you know, esper when it comes to throwing espers on mages. I do believe he has an extremely high magic status. You can see minus 6,035. He's very, very good. Let's go ahead and look at his abilities here. We get Osmos, and guys, you can see that at the bottom. I immediately go to Osmos. Trial battles are going to last longer and longer. There's going to be a robot trial coming up. Aegeon, I think it's how you say his name. He is going to last hours upon hours, actually, if you don't have the damage to be able to take him down, if you weren't lucky enough to get a lot of 5 stars. And Osmos is going to get you that mana back that you may need. There are plenty of times when I've used Osmos in my trial guides. Definitely pick that up. You can see that Libra's up here. Thundara, you always want to pick up. And Dispel, too. You see how it goes Osmos, Dispel? Get both of those. There are plenty of times when I want to Dispel something. I want to make sure all my units have the option of Dispelling when I can't use items and can't use Holy Torch, in order to make sure I can get that done. And I have as many options, because you never know what's going to happen. Somebody dies, somebody's, you know, paralyzed. You know, anything could be going on. The more options you have, the better. So that's why I went ahead and picked up that Dispel. Libra is always a good option. Again, I want that on everybody just to be sure I can do research, or if I forget something on the enemy, I can do that mid-battle, or it's for a mission. And then you can see we have Blind Nut, Deprotect, Thunder as always is what he does. Bar Thunder, Shell, Protect, Imperil. You know, you always want that Imperil to bring down the defense of the enemy. And you can see this is how I built him. Again, he gives a lot of spirit magic and overall, you know, mage type abilities. But I mean, that Dispel down there and that Osmos can go on anybody. It's very, very useful. Next up is Diabolos, another physical damage dealing esper. Very, very good. Again, no, the evocation is just not that great. It's just a damage. And as right now in the game, guys, the damage from the espers is really, really low. It's why it makes it really hard sometimes to kill certain enemies with the espers and etc. So this is another one of the ones that are going to have debatable things you can do on it. Obviously, you want to pick up Demon Killer. Anytime you can pick up killer abilities you want to, and you can see Maneater up here, which is pretty much Human Killer. They call it Maneater in the game. Osmos, again, you see that I pick up Osmos, Drain, not the best, but Osmos is much better. I have picked up Mug here. Not a lot of people do, I don't think, from what I understand. But I think that in a case where you're going to want to be doing a lot of stealing, it's good to have that Mug ability on your Esper. So you can just get in there and Mug with, you know, maybe one of your physical damage dealers. You don't really have to change up your team. It is available to, you know, whoever you have on your team. I like that. So you see this reduce encounter up here. And I can see that as being something you might want to take. Recently, because we have been getting a lot of espers that can take the place of Diabolos when we go into, you know, explorations, things like that, and we kind of just want to get through it real quick. We don't want to be farming the trash mobs. You guys can pick that up for sure. I currently just don't have it on, but if I got into a situation where I really needed to, like, you know, go through something really quick or things like that, I would put it on. It's pretty cool. It's cool that it's on Diabolos, and I really like that. But yeah, here's my build, guys. You can look over it again. Diabolos, again, goes on a physical damage dealer, and with a Demon Killer and Man-Eater, when you're against a demon or human-type monster, this will probably go on your main physical damage dealer to do even more physical damage, or to stack with somebody who already has them. So, pretty cool. And we're back to support espers with Carbuncle and Ruby Light. Reflects magic cast on allies. Now, this is sounds like it'd be a really cool evocation, but it can have its backfires. Like you can cast it on yourself and then cast some magic on yourself and it reflects back to the enemy and you don't actually, you know what I mean? There's some things that you can use it on and things that just doesn't really work on or makes the enemy mad. I personally never use the Carbuncle evocation. I've always wanted to be going to the Golem, etc. But, you know, it's there just in case you need it. But I have seen some people really mess up using it and I thought it was quite funny. Carbuncle is a great supports unit, Esper, a lot of spirit, a lot of defensive stats. You can see here that we get Bar Thundara, Bar Blizzara, you know, these are AoE, elemental resist ups. We have Dispel up there, which is very important. And I didn't get Cura here. I actually kind of think I might want that down the road if I'm not using Carbuncle on my main healer, you know, just so my off healer or my off support may have the chance to be able to use Cura. But we did just get Lakshmi too. So it's kind of hard. You got to think of how you're building your team, who covers what, and yeah, you kind of want to double dip sometimes, but you know, it's just the way it goes. I definitely want to dispel those. You can see there. We have Barfira, what am I trying to say here? Barfira is up there you want to get, and then just the spirit guy. So pretty straightforward. Very cool Esper in my opinion, bringing all of these elemental resists. You know, again, the three main elements that we used to deal with an Exvius was the lightning, the ice, and the fire, and then Carbuncle's got your back for those AoE styles. So pretty cool and very, very good Esper. One of the best for supports in the game, I think. Next up, would you have guessed it? It's another physical damage dealing, you know, Esper and Odin. And Odin's, you know, he's got that Zantetsuken down there, you know, a staple when it comes to talking about Odin. Hoping you could, I remember casting him in other Final Fantasy games, summoning him, and then just hoping he would just get rid of my enemies. And he ended up doing like 30 damage to them all, and I'd be real sad. But yeah, so what are we looking for here in Odin? And we have Finger Snap at the top, and if you guys didn't know what Finger Snap was, it's a physical damage dealing ability that dispels. I have used this in so many trials, it's not funny. It is very, very strong. Odin is a very strong Esper, and just to have the ability to dispel with your physical damage dealing abilities while also hurting people, pretty good. And then we're gonna go over and look at Lance, and Lance is important. It puts up your HP and MP. It's like an HP MP drain, and it's a lot stronger than a lot of people tend to give it credit for. I used it in a lot of trials, the Titan trial specifically, and it worked wonders. I would definitely pick that up. Next, we have Blade Blitz. I remember on my stream, everybody was like, I had half the people saying, don't get Blade Blitz, it's worthless, and other people saying, get it. And I understood, you know, that I needed it for Orlando, right? Orlando needed Blade Blitz. This is a way to put AoE physical damage, you know, on your damage dealers that don't have that AoE to them, and Orlando is one of them. So definitely worth picking up in my opinion. It does tend to tilt people if you don't have that on your damage dealers if they don't have AoE, so I would definitely pick that up. And as you can see, we have Undead Killer here and Dragon Killer. Like, that's what it makes Espers for me, because their stats are great, but they're not that big of a stat boost, honestly, and it's more about the abilities, obviously, and the killer abilities are the biggest thing for me. So now we have Dragon and Undead Killer. So again, Odin will be going on your physical damage dealer that is against, you know, Undead or Dragon Killer is probably your strongest one to try to do as much damage as possible. But guys, here again, here is my build. You know, this is how I ended up building him. So now we have Titan, and although he looks freaking amazing, he looks awesome, he looks like a badass, he does earth elemental damage to everyone. Titan was really disappointing for me, and you'll see why. His abilities, he just doesn't really have anything that brings a lot to the table that's different. Barstoner is pretty cool. You want to pick that up. In his stats just are, I don't know, he just wasn't what I thought he was going to be when I saw him. He does have HP Stroll, and it's really not that important. What HP Stroll does is if you're in an exploration and you're walking around, you're going to be gaining HP as you take steps. Really not that important if you're, you know, you just take a bunch of tents and a bunch of potions if you wanted to, or take a bunch of MP items and cure your teammates in the middle of the exploration. Really just kind of like icing on the cake. When I first built this Esper, I was a little bit intoxicated on stream, and I took both Rock Buster and Geo Crush, although Geo Crush is just a better Rock Buster. But as you can see, no killer abilities besides Barstonra. Nothing really that makes him stand out too much as an Esper. Kind of just a lackluster. He's cool looking, and I thought he'd be amazing. You know, cue the Attack on Titan theme, but nothing really too great here. Last but not least, we have our most recent Esper that was released in the story, Lakshmi, and she is an amazing Esper. She's a support Esper. I do believe she's an Esper you want to put on your off healer, so your off healer support. So someone who isn't really there to do the healing role, in my opinion, because of the evocation. Alluring Embrace. It's going to give you 70% HP once Lakshmi is maxed out to your entire team. That's very, very strong. So maybe throw that on somebody like a Riku, or maybe one of your breakers who's kind of just sitting there, maybe a Ling or something. You know, just to have that as a backup, because as we go in here and look at her list of things she can do, she does have Cura. I did pick that up to help with healing, just in case I was in those situations where my main healer had to do something else, or maybe was passed out, dead, drank too much. You know, we're in there with this. And as you can see up here in the top left, this is the most important line of things that you can get. Soaring Protection is 100%, and Waking Protection, Softening Protection. These are all 100% resist for 3 turns to certain status elements. Soaring Protection is against Confuse. Waking Protection is against Paralyze, which you would think it would be Sleep. I don't get that name. And then Softening Protection, which is kind of easy to guess there, is Petrify. So it's really amazing. You know, Petrify is always something we've had a hard time dealing with and getting rid of, because Asuna gets rid of Confuse and Paralyze, but not Petrify. But if you start your first turn, you know there's going to be a lot of Petrification in your match, in your trial. You can just throw Softening Protection on your team, and you're 100% resist. Everyone is okay with that. Then we have Demonic Whisper, which is a very good move. You can cast it on one ally, and it's going to give you an MP refresh on that ally for 3 turns. Pretty awesome there. You can see I picked up Libra, just a perk that I want to, you know, get on myself. And then we have Auto Regen down here. Not the best, honestly. Auto Regen is just an HP over time, you know, regen that you get at the beginning of the turn. It'll cast it on yourself, and that'll happen, but it's not the best. But overall, like, what you guys want to definitely be getting are these top 3 things. And what makes Lakshmi so amazing is her, you know, you can actually invoke her, and it's actually good. 70% heal is awesome. Then you have 100% resist to Paralyze, Petrify, Confuse, and then you can also put MP Refresh up on someone. So very, very well thought out Esper. Again, I think it's an off-healing Esper because you can get Cura, and her Cure does that, and etc, etc. So I think it's pretty cool. So overall, guys, I hope this video helped you out. I hope it's what you all wanted. Obviously, we're going to disagree on some of these things. You know, it's how you play the game, what benefits your team the most. Get creative, think of what you may need in a fight, and just be aware that a lot of these Espers also, we'll go ahead and click on Ramuh, they also take your resist down. So if you look at the resist here, you're going to get up 50% to lightning, but you're going to be down 50% to water. So you need to be aware of that when you're looking on your Espers, when you're building your team. But that's just something, again, for you guys to think about. Do yourself. Again, I'll just show you Ifrit real quick. Can we go to the resist? You know, we're going to have 10% blind resist, 50% fire resist, and down on the ice blizzard. Same thing, I guess. So, you know, you're going to be aware of that when you're building your team with these Espers, also when you're going in and fighting a boss. But overall, I just wanted you guys to give you guys my builds. I know you guys have been asking for that, and with the resets that came out, it should help you out a lot. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below any changes you've seen, or, you know, what Espers you're excited to see coming out in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, because I know we're getting more and more coming out. And subscribe for future content. I hope you guys have an amazing day.